So I call up Gates and I'm like, look, man, Wayne loves me and wants to sign me. Finessin's doing great. It blew up. They bring out the gang unit, SWAT team on me, and the cop's like, so you still gonna drop that song, No Snitching?
What did you do to Grandma?
The first charges I ever got, I want to say I was 27, 28.
Had you been selling drugs? What was it?
Yeah, okay, so at the time, I'm like signed with Lil Wayne.
Okay. How does that happen? Like, you're a rapper? You were
Yeah,
rapping?
so I'm a rapper.
When did you start rapping?
Probably about like 20.
Okay.
And by like 22, I had a record deal and a publishing deal. I got signed to Island Def Jam, and I also got signed to Dr. Luke's like publishing label, Prescription Songs.
Did you have a rapper name?
Yeah, my rapper name is Baby E, and like honestly, that whole journey is like crazy in and of itself. Right before I got signed, so and at the time I was living in Oklahoma City with my aunt. I had just like quit my band, like I toured in emo bands for like years since I was 14 to like, 18, 19, and just like it was a really hard, tough life, like sleeping in the van most nights at Walmart and stuff like that. Like it was tough. And I started making my own like solo music, and I noticed people were like really starting to gravitate to it. So like I put all my focus on that. And I sent my buddy, who I'd been in a band with before, and so he hears the songs, and he calls me back like 5 minutes later, and he's like, bro, he's like, this is like, dude, this is it. Like, you're gonna blow up off this, dude. Like, you gotta do this, man. Like, you gotta do this for real. And I was like, okay, like I am, I'm doing my best. Like, and he's like, bro, he's like, my father has a pest control company. He can get you a pest control license. You can work for the pest control company and like make money and save up. I have a studio at my house. Like, he had a big ass room with like a loft inside of the room. And like, so I go there and I stay there for probably like year and a half, 2 years. And I'm just like grinding like crazy with the music. I'm growing locally as an artist, and a lot of people have that kind of like vibe about it where it's like, yo, he's probably gonna be up next. Like, at least it felt that way. And I met this lady named Majesty, and she's just like a really nice, like sweet lady, but like she was a partner in the studio, and there's this guy named like Darren who was like, I don't know, he just decided to build a studio, and he liked my music enough to where he was like, hey, if you want to record here, as long as I don't have a paid session, like you can record here as much as you want. So that was a big gift. So I would go to my pest control job, go straight to the studio every night till like 3 or 4 in the morning, and just, yeah, I was like grinding hard. And one day Majesty hears my stuff, like, through the room, and she's like, she walks in and she's like, oh my God, like, so many people are like, you gotta check this person out, you gotta check that person out. And she was like, so I honestly like didn't really take it seriously at first, but like now that I'm hearing your stuff, like I want to help you. And she's written a lot of like really big songs, but her biggest song is Rihanna's first single, Hey Mr. DJ, Come On to Replay.
Mm-hmm.
Her manager at the time was this guy named Chris Anacute. He went on to get a corporate job at Island Def Jam Records, went on to sign Katy Perry, and just did very well with his career after the Rihanna single. And we started sending my stuff to Chris for like 6 months, and he is kind of breadcrumbing us, you know. He's like, oh, these sound so good. Like, I love these demos. Like, keep working, keep doing your thing. Like, keep getting the shows bigger. Like, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're almost there. We're almost ready. And I had been hearing this for like, you know, at least 6 months, maybe getting close to a year. So I'm getting to the point where I think like, this dude's never gonna sign me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I might as well move on. And lo and behold, one day I get a DM from this guy and on Twitter, and his like bio reads like head of A&R at Convict Music, which is Akon's thing, and like assistant to Boo, who is Akon's brother and stuff. And so I'm like, oh wow, like this guy's really in it. And he DMs me and he's like, hey, like I checked out your stuff, like are you signed or anything? And I was like, no, like I have no contracts, like I'm wide open, like, you know. And he was like, how soon could you get to New York and have a meeting? And I was like, the second you send me a contract, or not a contract, but a flight, dude. Like,
Right.
I'll literally hop on the next one out of Virginia, like. And so he's like, all right, give me your name, you know, and your birthday. And so, like, within probably 16 hours, I'm in New York City, and I'm with, like, the assistant, Boo, who is Akon's brother, and Akon. And, you know, they had developed artists before. Like, they were, like, behind Lady Gaga. They were the ones that signed Lady Gaga and, like, believed in her early and stuff. So, like, it wasn't, like, a wild thought to think, like, you know, maybe they could take me and develop me and make me something, you know. And so, yeah, they take me around and have me meet a bunch of like really big producers, and we go to like nice restaurants. And you know, at the end of it, they're like, hey, like, we really like the vibe that's going on. Like, we want to bring you down to Atlanta and talk about like signing you and making this official. And you know, I was like, yeah, of course, like I love that. So I go down to Atlanta, and like the first 3 days I'm there, they're just having me in the studio every day, which was cool because Future is one of my favorite rappers, and I liked him a lot even before, like, you know, like this is way back when his like one of his first singles called Tony Montana had like just dropped, and it was like playing everywhere. And it was just cool. Like me and him were sharing the same engineer, and he'd like come in the room and like get files and stuff, and like, you know, like my sessions would be right after his, so like we'd be like crossing paths when I'd be coming in. And yeah, I just thought that shit was dope. I thought it was inspiring. And so yeah, I'm thinking everything's great. Like I'm writing songs every day. Like, you know, I'm in Atlanta. I'm thinking they're gonna give me a solid deal, and like we're gonna make this work. And one day I'm in the booth and I can see through the windows, like, you know, I'm seeing like balloons come in through the hall, and like a cake and like just like decorations and stuff. And I'm like, oh, somebody must be having a birthday or something. Like, and I had no idea like it was like gonna be for me. And so one of the dudes comes in and he's like, hey, like Boo wants you to come, you know, in the lobby, we're about to have this party. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I go in there, and everybody's kind of like, surprise! Like, and I'm like, oh shit, like, surprise what? Like, you know? And I look over and I see him, and he's at a table, and he's got a contract in front of him. And then there's an empty chair with like a contract for me to sit next to him with, you know. And he's got like a Rolex and like a chain and stuff, and like keys to a car, and like, I don't know, just like, you know, trying to make it look good, and like and you know, there's cameras rolling, so I don't want to be like rude and be like, what is this, dude? Like, you know, I'm just rolling with it. Like, we cheers the champagne and stuff. And he's like, yeah, he's like, welcome to the convict family, bro. Like, let's make this official tonight. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, cool, you know, like, and I knew enough like about the music industry at the time and the way the business works to where I flipped through the contract and I could see some of the terms, and one of the terms was like, it was like a 10K advance for my like artistry, my publishing, like any creative endeavor, like acting and shit, like a full 360 deal. And it was like a 7-album contract with like 3 options. So basically a 10-album deal. And the advance on it was $10,000. And I was like, oh, no. Hell no. Like, I'm not signing this. And,
Plus the Rolex and the chain and the car. But
that don't mean shit. Like, for all
I know it doesn't mean shit. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
That's the exciting part for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
So what's sorry, but what is what are they trying to sell you? You get $10,000 in advance.
Yeah,
like
they
in
give you
advance.
10 grand.
Well, they're expecting me to just sign the contract blind.
Right.
They don't even know.
And it's like beads for the natives, right? Like you give them something flashy up front to get them like, oh shit, a car and this and that. And so you're all excited, and then you sign, and it's not till a year later when you start to realize, like, I've made no money.
Starting something new isn't just hard, it's terrifying. So much work goes into this thing that you're not entirely sure will work. And it can be hard to make that leap of faith. Trust me, I know. When we started this podcast, we had no idea if it would take off. And when you're scared, stressed, or just starting out, it helps to have a partner like Shopify on your side. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. From household names like Heinz and Mattel to brands just getting started. You can get started with your own design studio. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand's style. You might be asking yourself, what if people haven't heard about my brand? Shopify helps you find your customers with easy-to-run email and social media campaigns. And what if you get stuck? Shopify is always around to share advice with their award-winning 24/7 customer support. It's time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/true. Go to shopify.com/true. That's shopify.com/true.
Yeah.
And these albums are selling. The art, everything's selling. Everybody thinks I'm rolling in money, but these guys gave me 10 grand a year ago.
And then the label will say shit like, well, we invested so much into your marketing. Like, you know, we
same
spent,
thing with the movie deals they give you. Oh, you get this much on the back end. There is no back end.
They never make any profit.
Expense it out.
Yeah.
We spent $30K on your video. Like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you owe us all the money back, and then you get a small percentage of the profit.
Yeah.
But the truth is that they didn't spend fucking 30,000, or if they spent 30,000 on or 60,000 or 100,000,
Well,
it's just another company that they own.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cameras are rolling in this room, and they're presenting you this contract.
Yeah, right? And so, like, you know, Boo, he's you know, him and Akon, their record company is called Convict Music. Like, they haven't always lived the most,
Right.
like, you know, law-abiding lives and shit. Like, and so, a lot of times I don't really go away with a lot of guys. And, like, you have these, like, security dudes, which was normal, but they got, like, these guns and shit, and they're, like, standing by the door and shit. And I'm kind of like, what the hell's going on? And so I whisper in Boo's ear, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to sign this contract, but I'm going to, like, fake like I'm signing it. And we'll send it to my lawyer in the morning, and we'll, like, negotiate it and get it right. And he's like, wait, like, hold up. He's like, are you kidding me? He's like, you saying you don't trust me? And I'm like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, dude. I was like, I'm just saying, like, would you, if I brought you a contract with, that you didn't get to read over at all, like your attorney didn't get to read over, like, you would just sign a blind contract that I offered you? No, you would never do that. Like, so it's insane of you to expect that of me. And he was like, man, like, like, the first day I heard you, I flew you out. Like, I believed in you, like, so heavy, and, like, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I can't believe how ungrateful you are. Like you could have had the world. You worried about a little $10,000 check. Like, we take care of you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, okay. Like, I'm like, look, dude, it is what it is, dog. Like, it's all love. We can still, like, make the best of this or whatever. And he's like, nah, like, fuck that. Like, it's over. Like, the fact you even question me, embarrass me on camera in front of, like, all my employees and shit. And so, he's like, stop running the cameras. And look, man, he's like, y'all need to get out of, like, Atlanta. He's like, if I see you in the next 24 hours, like, it's up. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like, all because I went and blindly signed a contract. And so, like, he was nice enough to put me in a, like, black, like, kind of suburban Escalade sort of car. And they took me to, like, the condo I was staying at. On the way there, remember the guy Chris Anacute in the beginning, who I'd been sending my shit to for a year, who had signed Katy Perry? I get a call from him, like, randomly. I'm like, why would he be calling me right now? So I pick it up, and he's like, what's up, bro? He's like, I heard you've been, like, talking to Boo, and you're thinking about signing with him. And I was like, yeah. I was like, everything's looking good. Like, I was like, he just gave me my contract tonight, and, like, like, because I wanted to create, like, a sense of urgency with him.
Right.
I didn't want him to think, like, yeah, we just had a fight, like, that deal's totally off the table, like. And he was like, oh, bro, he's like, did you sign anything yet at all? And I'm like, no, I haven't signed it yet, but it's looking like we're going to. And he was like, bro, like, I'll give you $5,000, bro, just to hop on the next flight to LA and have a meeting with me. And I was like, I'm broke at the time, so I'm like, okay, shit. Like, all I gotta do is land in LA and you hand me $5,000. And he's like, yeah, you have a meeting with me before you sign with Boo. And he doesn't know that Boo and I had just, like, fallen out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I think we can do that. Like, yeah, let's book the next ticket. Like, which was perfect because I needed to get the hell out of Atlanta. And, my buddy who was with me, he just flew back to Virginia. But so I immediately, like, early in the morning, fly from Atlanta to LAX, and I land. The A&R is, like, trying to show me a good time. He takes me to, like, a session with the producer Hit Boy, and, like, we're just having fun and stuff. And he takes me back to my hotel, and he's like, okay, like, while you're here, if you could work with any producer, big or small, who would it be? And I was like, Dr. Luke. Like, that was, like, my dream producer at the time. And since Chris Anacute had signed the A&R, since he had signed Katy Perry, he had a really good relationship with Dr. Luke, because Dr. Luke did most of her Teenage Dream album. And so he's like, all right, like, I'll see what I can do. So I, like, pass out that night, And the next day I wake up at like 7:30 to like some banging on my door. And I'm like, leave me alone. I'm like, do not disturb, I think it's like the cleaning ladies or some shit. And like the banging won't stop, so I go and look through the peephole, and it's like Chris, the guy who had flown me out, and he's like, bro, we have a really big meeting. He's like, I'm not even gonna tell you what it is. I don't want you to get nervous. Like, he's like, let's open up your suitcase and like find the flyest outfit you got. He was like obsessed with like what people were wearing for some reason, the artists especially. And so we like pick out this outfit, and I'm just kind of like, whatever, like this is some shit I would usually never wear, but. And he takes me to this house, and it's like this like nice house in the hills. It looks like kind of like almost like a hippie musician commune. Like the house is so big, and like there's just like studio setups in like every corner, and there's just like a group of people like making music in all these corners together. And we walk in the living room, and I see Dr. Luke sitting on the couch, and I'm like, holy shit, like we're here, like. And so I sit down, and Dr. Luke's like, yeah, man, like it's nice to meet you, like I heard you're really dope through Chris, and yeah, I just wanted to meet you, and if Chris says something's worth checking out, like, I take his word for it. I'm like, okay. So we kind of like, build a repertoire for a second, and he's like, hey, I don't have a lot of time, so like, let's go to the studio and listen to your songs. So we're playing my songs, and he would play like 15 to 30 seconds of the song and be like, okay, cool. And like, I thought that was like a sign of him like not liking it or whatever. I was like, man, that sucks. But at the end of the meeting, he was like, yeah, I got this hook that I'm working on. Like, I got verses from Lil Wayne and B.O.B. He's like, I just need like a solid hook. Like, are you willing to give it a try? And I was like, yeah, And so he emails me the song, and at this point, I'm stoked just to have his email, and like, the fact that he gave me a beat to work on, that was enough for me. And so we leave, and I'm like, all right, that went as well as it possibly could, I guess. And it's like deja vu, like 7:38 in the morning. My A&R is like banging on my door the next morning, and he's like, we got another meeting. And we go back to the same exact spot. And that's when Luke sits me down, and he's like, hey, I just want to be honest, like, ever since you gave me those demos, like, I've been listening to them on repeat, and like, I really love your music, like, I really think you have something special. He's like, I'd even love to be involved with like your artistry, but like, since Chris is a A&R for a label, I don't want to step on his toes and like sign his artist. Basically, he's like, but I'd love to give you like a publishing deal as like a songwriter and a producer. And I was like, okay, bet, beautiful. So we do that, and we negotiate it in like 24 hours, and it's done. And so after that, like going into the label with a publishing deal from Dr. Luke, like that's like almost like having a Willy Wonka golden ticket at the time. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I meet with the label, and we play some songs and stuff, and like, yeah. And so I ended up signing my record deal that first week. And,
with what label was it?
This label was Island Def Jam.
Okay, and that's not the Lil Wayne record, like
No.
Okay, so that comes future. How like what's the extent? Is this like for a year, or how does a record deal work like that?
I was probably signed to Island Def Jam for about, I would say, at least 5 years, maybe 6. And it was funny because my A&R would always like argue with me and be like you could be the next Kurt Cobain, you could be the next like Stained or like something like that, or like Nickelback or something. Like, why do you want to try to be like Chief Keef and like blah blah blah? And I would be like, I'm not trying to be like Chief Keef, man. I'm just making what I like, you know. And I don't know. It was just like a rough go because I think he meant well, but he was always trying to push me in this direction of like whatever was hot at the time. And I'm like, bro, like these are all just fads. Like, you know what I mean? We should just make good music. And like, so we clashed a lot, and it got to the point where we just had stopped talking, and I finally get dropped from Island Def Jam Records. And at this time, I'm on my ass. Like
I'm curious so 5 years with Def Jam Records, like what's the lifestyle like? Like,
Yeah,
I
what
think
happened?
you get
Yeah.
signed by a record deal. Like, are you kind of going on tour? Are you, living like a nice kind of lifestyle, or is it still kind of the grind? I don't have much money. I'm still waiting for an album to pop. Like, how does that 5 years go?
No, I got like a good 6 figures between the 2 deals.
Okay.
And I don't feel like the music industry works this way so much anymore, but like it's all like during that time it felt like the music industry almost just had monopoly money. Like my A&R had this like expense card that he was just use on the most crazy shit. Like
Well, they're not paying the artist anything, so.
but the fucked up part is like I think he's just paying for shit and being like like a nice guy, but it's actually getting put on my bill.
Right. Okay.
And the way the deals are structured for major record deals, like for every $1 that they make, like it's like an 80-20 split. So like if a label gives you like $1 million, spends $1 million on your rollouts and your videos and things like that,
You owe him $8 million?
yeah, you owe $8 million before you have to make $9 million to get a $200,000 check.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And that's the average deal.
You ever
Like,
see the Lou Pearlman?
yeah, and
special
sometimes it's worse.
Where he's throwing like, it wasn't was it the Backstreet Boys? Who was Lou Pearlman? He created anyway.
NSYNC,
one of these boy bands, and he
almost want to say he did both of them.
and so they're like, some of them he's putting them in a house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll put you in a house. He's flying them all over the place, giving them throwing them parties, and they're just like, man, this guy's super wealthy and he's really generous.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came time, and every once in a while they would get a check for $30,000, $15,000, $20,000, and at some point their parents come after like a year or so. They're like, listen, you got these kids working 3-4 days a week doing concerts and practicing the other days and flying them all around. They're doing the concerts, like, but in the last year we've made like 60. He's made like 60,000, and they're like, we didn't know where this money's going. Like, well, when are we going to get paid? And so when he pulls out he says, okay, well, no, you are being paid, and he pulls out like an expense sheet and explains that no, they've made like $1.5 million this year, and they're like, what are you talking about? You only paid him $70,000 or something. And then he's like, no, but that party costs this much, the house costs this much, the the travel costs this much, the stages cost this much. They start adding it up and realize, like, the money we're supposed to be getting, you're spending on all of these expenses, not realizing where they thought he was being generous, throwing them a party that cost $100,000 over the weekend, not realizing he's charging you for. So if he said, hey, you know what we should do? We should have a party this weekend. They're like, oh, that's cool. Not realizing what he's really saying is, hey,
let's go ahead and have a party and I'll bill you $100,000, even though it doesn't really cost me $100,000. It might cost me $40,000 or $30,000, but I'm going to bill you guys $100,000. And when you're supposed to get your check for $120,000 next month, you'll only get 20.
And he got arrested for that?
He got arrested
for something else.
He was running a Ponzi scheme on top of it all.
Conspiracy, money laundering, fake statements. Yeah.
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 He was an interesting con man. But yeah, I mean that's just but that's kind of like what they kind of always do, right? Like they you don't really know anything. The one guy's trying to pressure you to sign something, knowing that, and then he kind of owns you. And then you get $10,000, and maybe in a few months when he realizes you're starving to death, he pays you a little bit more. Just keeps paying, but he's really making a ton of money off of you.
Yeah, yeah.
So in your first deal, that 5-year deal was kind of similar, where it's like it's not as good as he thought it was going to be, or.
I don't want to say it was a completely bad experience. It wasn't. I learned a lot. But, there would be things like, hey, like, you got a session at Record Plant today. Like, you're in Studio A, and Record Plant's like this legendary studio with, like, all the best equipment. It's like, like $5,000 a day to rent, and then, like, $2 extra to have, like, a studio engineer, $3,000 for the day, like. So it's like an $8,000 day, and then there's like $1,000 per diem that you get charged for too. So like, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 day, and you think you're just having a session at a Record Plant. You don't realize like, oh, I'm being charged.
So they charge that to you,
right?
That comes out of your monthly whatever,
or no,
salary?
They just like basically put it on your tab.
Right. So if they then go to cut your check for $200,000 because you sold a bunch of songs, well, you owe
$150,000.
Yeah.
So here's your 50, and you go, wait a minute, my song's fucking everywhere. I'm viral. I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
Like they're playing it everywhere. Like I see myself everywhere. And then I just made $50,000 in 6 months. Like, come on, that's insanity.
Yeah, there's really no value in actually like selling records these days. Like a lot of artists really make their money from touring and merchandising and like influencer deals and things like that because
this is 20 years ago, before iTunes and they made all their money on albums. Like touring, the record companies would beg them to tour to try and sell albums.
Yeah.
Albums.
You say albums.
Well, albums. So albums.
Yeah.
So albums. So try and get them to sell records.
Yeah. There you go.
CD, DVD, whatever. So, and now it's the exact opposite. They make all their money touring, and they don't make really anything on those fucking songs.
Yeah. Like I think 1 million plays on Spotify is about $3,000 to $4,000, which is like insane.
Mm.
You get paid 1/3 of a cent.
Well, if it's costing you $8,000 or $9,000 a day to be in a studio,
you get paid 1/3 of a cent per stream, and then that 1/3 of a cent gets split probably 5 to 7 ways. While all this was happening, so, like, when I first moved to LA and got my record deal, I met a girl within about 6 months of being here. And her and I just fell, like, deeply in love. It was, like, love at first sight, We just were, like, crazy about each other. And we started living together. And when I met her, like, I had just started, like, taking, like, Percocets and drinking lean and stuff like that. Like, I didn't even realize how, malicious or whatever they could be. I thought it was just, like, some rapper drug or whatever. And she was, like, 3 years clean. And she would always tell me, like, you need to quit those, like, pills and stuff. Like, that's basically a pill, like. It makes me want to relapse being around you, like, high on that stuff. Like, I can't be around you, like, if you're going to do that stuff. And so I tell her I quit, and I really would just like kind of, just hide it from her and take them, in the bathroom and stuff. And so, and just not get super high around her. And one thing led to another, and unfortunately, she ended up relapsing herself and on H. And at the time, I was so naive, I didn't even know what was going on. I just like, she would tell me that she was like fainting, and then, I'd be like, what in the world? Like, trying to make her drink water. And eventually I realized, like, oh, like, she's getting high. And I think I either, like, walked in on her, like, doing it, or opened a drawer and saw, like, her stash of paraphernalia and stuff again. It was just, like, the perfect storm where, like, I caught her relapsing, and I'm hiding the fact that I have, like, an oxycodone habit from her. And so basically now it's like, okay, we can just like be honest and say what we're doing. Yeah, it didn't take long before I like read enough on the internet and learned that basically like perks, or like the obvious next step was moving up to like, like H, like dog food. So, and I knew she had it around. I started like pinching from her stash and like smoking it, and like, yeah, we would just do like sketchy stuff to like make money and get by. Like, we knew this one guy who like worked at a lab that made like HGH, and one day he like came over freaking out and gave us like almost like, the drawers that you open up and put like veggies in, like 2 drawers full of just like HGH. And he like worked at a lab that made it, and he was like, look, I either gotta throw this away or give it to somebody. Like, do you guys want it? And we were like, yeah, hell yeah, we'll take it, And just, we would flip stuff like that, and just like, I don't know. It was a crazy lifestyle. I was young, and it's my first time with money, and I got this, hot girlfriend. Like, she's a model. Like, she had been on the cover of French Vogue, and like, she was also like blowing up as a DJ at this time too. She had like pivoted from being a model to a DJ. So, my music's going well. Like I'm writing songs for like Miley Cyrus and like J-Lo and like Juicy J and
Do you have any
Kevin
songs
Gates.
that were? Do you have any songs like that were big that most people would recognize that you maybe wrote?
My probably most recognizable song I have is this song called "Bounce It" by Juicy J. It's like a strip club anthem, and I made the beat on that and wrote the hook.
So what's the process of like you're just at home writing these songs, and then you have like a connect, like, hey bro, like, do you want to shop this around and see if anybody wants to buy this? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, like for example, the way the Juicy J thing worked out. So way back in like 2000, almost like 11, I'd say. Like, I was living in Virginia, and this producer was really blowing up at the time, named Lex Luger. He had those songs with Rick Ross and Waka Flocka Flame and such. And at the time, having a Lex Luger beat was like, the holy grail of like having beats or whatever. And so he had this group that it was his brother and his 2 cousins that only rapped on his beats. And they came to me and were like, hey, we need like a kind of like crossover radio, like pop song type deal. Like, can you help us with that? And I'm like, yeah. So Lex Luger makes really dark music. So like the first 2 songs we do were like, yeah, these aren't like radio bangers or whatever. And my producer that I was working with, he had like he had some more poppy melodic beats, and we made like a radio song. And I didn't know they were making a mixtape with Juicy J at the time. And so like a day or 2 later, I'm riding on my way to work to my pest control job, and I get this like phone call from a Memphis number, and I pick it up and I'm like, hello? And like, I would like recognize his voice anywhere. He's like, what up, man? This is Juicy J, 36 Mafia. You ever heard of me? And I'm like, yeah, dude. Like I grew up listening to you. Like I grew up on 36 Mafia. Like, what's up? And he's like, hey man, he's like, I heard that song you did with VABP. He's like, how you feel about me like doing a verse on it and us shooting a video for it? And I was like, dude, like, let's run it like all day. And so yeah, Juicy J ends up flying to Virginia. And yeah, we shoot a video. The song was called Rockstar Stone and ended up on World Star and stuff. And Juicy J really took a liking to me at that time. And I would talk to him and be like, man, I just like hate my job. I really wish I could do music full time and stuff. And so yeah, he offered me a deal. And at the time, I almost took it, but my manager, the lady who got me with Chris Anacute, the Katy Perry guy, like, she was like, I know you want to sign with Juicy J, and he's a good dude, but like, there's just bigger, better contracts waiting for you. Like, don't take this deal. So I'm like, okay. And long story short, Juicy J ends up signing to Dr. Luke, the guy that I ended up signing to. So I hit up Dr. Luke and I'm like, hey, like, Juicy J's like family, like, you gotta put me on that album. And he writes back like all caps with like 10 exclamation points. Right, strip club music. I was like, okay. And I literally made the song Bounce It the night before. So I just immediately like texted back to him, and he was like, that night, he was like, hey, like, we're having Juicy cut it tomorrow, and it's gonna be the single. And I was like, bet. And so yeah.
How much? And you don't have to say specifically for this song, but like, how much would you expect to make from writing a song for a large artist? Or how is the deal structured? Like, how do they, hey, we'll give you $10,000, everything's ours. Or like, hey, give it to us and we'll give you 1% of whatever.
No, like the way most publishing splits go down these days is like if there's ever a dispute about, oh, I should get this much percent and you should get less. If you ever take it to court, the law is that like the judge is just going to split it evenly regardless. So like the best thing to do is just split everything evenly. And sometimes somebody who only changed 2 words gets a cut of the pie, and sometimes you're the guy who changed 2 words and you get a cut of the pie. But
so let's say you made the lyrics. So you made the hook, the chorus.
Right.
Someone else writes the rest of the lyrics. Juicy J produces it or sings the rest of it. So there's 3 people involved. So everybody just gets 33% straight across.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
On that one, Dr. Luke, he like pulled it in and like he tightened up the beat, and the song says produced by Dr. Luke, but like I made sort of like the skeleton of the beat,
Yeah.
And Luke just made it sound, like radio ready and stuff like that.
So at this point in your life, you're doing pest control and doing just music on the side. When you got free time, you're mixing, you're rapping, doing whatever, and you're working pest control on the side. Is that correct?
No, so I stopped working pest control once I got signed to Dr. Luke, and once I got signed to Island Def Jam, I moved straight to LA and just lived in LA and worked in studios every day.
Okay.
I was in studios for like 16 hours a day. Basically, the record deal just ended up not going the way I wanted it to. They finally end up dropping me. I feel this sense of freedom, and I decided at that time, like, hey, like, I'm still pretty young. I'm 25. Like, I should probably go to treatment and get this whole H habit figured out, you know, like, just dragging me down. And I knew I was about to make a bunch of money from my publishing royalties. So I was like, I don't want to get this money and then just, you know, have this addiction and, you know, blow all this money on it. So I go to my first treatment. I was so naive, and there's this drug called Suboxone that you know, treatment centers use a lot of times to like help with detox, or it's like a replacement therapy kind of thing. And I didn't know a lot about it at the time. And so for my first 28 days of a 31-day stay, they put me on it and tapered me off until on day 28 out of 31, I get completely removed off of the subs. And so, like, the first 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, man, getting clean's easy, man. Like, that was painless. Like, why didn't I do this before? Like, then they start weaning me off, and I finally, like, run out and go into complete withdrawals. And I'm like, this is so messed up. Like, I gotta go home in a few days, and they're gonna send me home, like, with, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's such a, like, backwards way of, like, treating someone. Like, it's almost like setting them up to be sick, go home, relapse, and then have to go straight back into treatment. And so I didn't want that to happen. And, like, the day before I was supposed to leave, and I had a doctor's note that said, like, hey, he stopped taking his meds today. Like, he doesn't have to do the groups. And this guy walks in who works there, and he's just on one. He's like, you gotta go to the groups, man. You gotta go to the effing groups. Like, you're not effing special. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm telling you, dude, like, I have a doctor's note. Like, radio the front desk. Like, I have a doctor's note. So, like, radio's the front desk, and they're not answering. He's like, I didn't see a doctor's note. I looked at the doctor's notes. And he runs up to my bed and snatches the covers off of me. And, you know, when you're in withdrawal, like, it's like you're hot and cold all at the same time. It's a terrible feeling to get, like, a blanket snatched off of you. So I'm, like, furious. And I stand up and I'm like, get the F out of my room, dude. I will F you up. Like, you're getting out of pocket. Like, go away. And he has, like, this, like, little evil smirk on his face, like, you'll do what? You'll F me up? And then I was like, yes, dude, like, get out of my room. Leave me alone. You're acting, like, insane right now. He's like, okay. And I was like, that was a weird exchange, but whatever. At least he went away, you know? And so I'm laying in my bed, and not even 30 minutes later, like, the owner of the freaking rehab place, like, comes up to my bed, and they're like, hey, like, we want to talk to you down in the office about some stuff. And I'm thinking, like, they want to talk to me about, you know, my aftercare plans and, like, what I'm going to do after I get out. And I sit down in the office, and they're like, we're sorry to do this to you, but we have a zero tolerance violence policy. And I was like, okay, like, I wasn't violent with anyone. What are you talking about? And she was like, that includes threats of violence. And I'm like, what? And she was like, did you not threaten David that you were gonna, like, F him up if he didn't get out of your room? And I was like, come on, dude. Like, I was emotional. Like, of course, I would never, like, put my hands on someone. Like, I was like, he snatched the covers off of me. He wouldn't believe that I had a doctor's note. He was being extremely rude to me. And she was like, well, I'm sorry. Like, you have to leave today. And I was like, what, dude? Like, I'm feeling so bad. And I'm like, so luckily I had a friend at the time who was like, you can come stay with me. He was sober too. He was like, we're going to take you to 90 meetings in 90 days and make sure you're good. I'm like, okay. And even though I was still feeling crappy from coming off the subs, like, I really wanted to prove to everyone, like, I got this. Like, I can do it. So I, like, stayed clean for, like, the 90 days. And to celebrate being clean for 90 days, me and my buddy go to ride, like, dune buggies out in the desert. Like, there's this place called California City, and they have these, like, 8-mile trails that are, like, it's just fun, You can ride dirt bikes and stuff like that on there. And we get there, and right before we get there, this, like, huge tourist family rents, like, every single vehicle that's, like, available. So, like, the only two things that are left are, like, these huge 250, like, dirt bike, like, Mad Max motorcycles. And me and my buddy are like, oh, no, man, those things are dangerous. Like, I was like, I grew up riding dirt bikes. Like, I don't know. And he's like, let's just ride them slow. Like, we can have fun. We don't have to, like, be crazy on them. And I'm like, okay. He's like, we drove all the way out here. And so I'm the one who's telling him, like, do not be stupid, bro. Like, I've crashed these things before. Like, they will get out of your hand before, like, you realize it. Like, he's like, of course, dude. Like, yeah, I'm going to take it easy. And so I'm riding this thing through the track, and I hit this straightaway that's probably half a mile long, and I'm like, something inside of me is just like, dude, just go for it. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like topping it out, just like, going as fast as I can, hit the top gear, and I'm just like going so fast it feels like I'm like literally like floating on the snow, like, or not the snow, the sand. And I'm like, I have this thought in my head. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going so fast, dude. Like, if I crash, like, I'm screwed. Like, and so, I see this, like, formation in the sand, and it looks like a, like, little sort of, like, ramp where I would just stand up and sort of roll over it. You know what I mean? And little did I know, it was like a rock that it had sand, like, blown against it. And so I'm probably going at least 55, 60, and boom, I just hit this rock. And I fly like 20 feet, like, over my bike, and just, like, wipe out super hard, dude. Like, and so I stand up, and I'm like, I still have my wits about me. I can still, like, move and stuff. And I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't get, like, messed up that bad. Like, I had my helmet and my pads on and stuff. And so, like, I walk up to the bike, and I go to pick up the bike, and, like, my right arm can lift the bike, and my left hand just, like, slowly just starts, like, going numb. Like, and I can't even, like, lift it. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, that's not good. And, like, I got all this desert gear on me. So I'm like, kind of like, oh, I'm hot. Like, I want to get this shit off of me. So I take the helmet off, take the big pads off. I take, like, the shirt off, and I can see where my collarbone is sticking out of my freaking skin, dude. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, what is this? And, like, so have you ever had an injury where, like, you knew you got injured, but it didn't start hurting like super bad until you actually looked at it and saw how bad the injury was.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that feeling. And so I'm like, oh my God, like, holy shit. And like, I'm in the middle of the desert. Like, there's like no hope unless somebody drives by. And so, like, once you finish this 8-mile trail, they have trucks at the end waiting on you, and you put your bike on a truck, and they have these, like, you know, lanes that drive up through the center of the trails. And by the grace of God, dude, there's like a guy driving by, like, bringing bikes back. He's like, hey, he's like, you okay, homie? And I was like, no. I was like, I need 911. And he was like, yeah, he's like, shit, dude, like, and he's like, do you want me to call 911 and bring him here, or like, you want me to drive you to the front? I'm like, drive me to the front, dude. And so like, him and his buddy come over, and they like, I can't stand, and they lift me up, and the dude's like carrying me under my shoulders, so like my collarbone's like, I'm like, oh my God, you know, and I like get in the back of the truck. And they drive me to the front, and luckily my buddy that I had been riding the track with, he had like saw from a distance like them putting me in the truck, and basically realized I had gotten in a bad wreck. So he like follows us back, and we're like so out in the middle of nowhere. We asked the lady at the front desk, we're like, should we call 911, or like, is it quicker to like drive to a hospital? And she was like, if you call 911, it's like hour and a half, at least an hour, like on a good day. She was like, but you can drive, and if you go really fast, like you can get to a hospital in like 30, 45 minutes. Like, my buddy's like, okay. So he throws me in the back of his Range Rover, and they drive me, and we get there, and there's this kid who had like slipped on his skateboard and like had a helmet on and everything, and bumped his head a little bit, and his mom just wanted his brain scan to make sure he was okay. Like the most like just dumb stuff. And so, I guess like in the ER, they have like, they treat people by like how important they think their injury is, and like, a possible child like brain injury like goes above like a dude with a broken collarbone and stuff. So like, you know, I showed the lady at the desk like the collarbone like hanging through my skin and stuff, and I'm like, I need to see someone like immediately. And I'm waiting there, and they come and they get the kid first. And I'm like, what in the heck, dude? So I go up to the desk, and I'm like, why is this kid getting seen before me? Like, look, like my collarbone is hanging out of my freaking skin. Like, you can't do anything to help me? Like, and she's like, we have to treat patients by like the importance of their injuries. Like, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I finally get seen, and at this point, like, it's not even about getting high for me. I just want the morphine so bad because I'm in so much pain. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm like, oh, like, I want to get high again and relapse. Like, I was actually celebrating 90 days of being clean when I went and rode the dirt bikes. And so the doctor's about to come in and see me, and my buddy, like, I hear him pull the doctor to the side, and he's like, hey, like, I just want to let you know, like, my friend's like a recovering like opioid addict, and like, please don't, like, you know, give him a bunch of stuff and get him rehooked. Just give him what he... I'm like, bro, come on. Like, this is about getting high. Like, I'm actually, like, messed up, man. I need this stuff right now. And so the doctor comes in, and he has this weird offer for me. He's like, I'm not going to put anything in your veins for you. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, but you can write your prescription. So He's like, I know you know what you want, so go ahead and tell me. And I was like, okay. Like, I was like, 30 milligram, like, OCs, like, and as many as you can write for me. So, yeah, he writes me a big old bottle of like 90 OCs, but refused to give me a freaking shot of morphine on the spot. And I was like, oh my God. So, long story short, I recover from all the injuries and surgeries from the bike crash. And I decide, like, you know what, like, I'm going to get back off these opioids again, like, and I like self-detox, and it was a really humbling experience because, I had to move back to Virginia and live in my homie's like parents' house with him in his loft again, and work pest control again, and just like, I don't know, it's not ideal. It hurts the ego once you get a big record deal and stuff, to have to move home and kind of tell people like, yeah, like it didn't work out. And so things are super dead for me at this point. I'm still creating music, but like no one in the industry will answer my emails. They just written me off as like, oh, he's on drugs, like he's a lost cause, blah, blah, blah. And understandably so, because like I was going wild, going bonkers. Like one time I like slept 8 hours through a Britney Spears session because I was like, I had a session with Britney Spears and I passed out for 8 hours. And anyway, that's just one example. And I finally get this call, and Kevin Gates and I had been tight because I met him like, right after he had gotten out of prison. And he had this song called Satellites that had been blowing up for a while, and people were really waiting on like his new stuff he was gonna, write like or put out right after prison. And so we worked a lot together and just got to know each other, and really hit it off as friends and homies. And I get a call from his A&R, and he's like, "Hey, Kevin's making a new album." And he specifically requested you. He wants, can you fly out to LA and like write hooks and like, like verses and stuff for Kevin, for him to, see if he likes them and wants to cut them. I'm like, yeah, I'm stoked. I'm like, yeah, put me on the next plane out. And so I go there, and sometimes as a songwriter, it's like, especially when you're like really aiming for like someone's style or you get really specific instructions, like it's kind of hard not to like do it too on the nose and stuff. And it's like at the end of the day, as a songwriter, like you want to give the artist something that they don't already have. Like they can do themselves. They made 100 songs like themselves. So like if you make songs that just sound like what they do, they'll normally gravitate to something different or whatever. And anyway, so it didn't work out that well, and I'm getting ready to leave. And the A&R Jeff Vaughn, he's like, hey, like, do you mind like playing me some stuff you've been working on at home? Like, you always got like some cool shit like tucked away. Like, play me some of the like, the archive stuff. And I was like, okay. So I had this like group of songs in mind that I wanted to show him, but to like cut the awkward silence, Finessin was on my desktop. So I was like, oh, the homies like this song when I play it at the crib. So like I just play Finessin while I'm going through my email, and I get through about the first verse, first hook, and he runs over and he like slams my space bar down. He's like, why didn't you like play this for me like when you first got here, dude? Like, what the hell? He was like, this is the first single, man. Like, this is the shit, dude. Like, he's like, who produced it? And I'm like, me. Like, I did it, you know? And he's like, who wrote it? And I'm like, me, 100%, you know? And he was like, oh, man, that's amazing. Because, you know, usually sometimes, like, when a label wants to get a song, if there's too many cooks in the kitchens and they got to write a deal with, like, 7 writers and 4 producers, it can be, like... So when you only got to deal with one person, it's like, you know, a lot easier. And so he's like, Kevin's going to cut this tonight. Like, so he FaceTimes Kevin. He's like, I want you to hear this song. Like, I want to see your reaction to it. And Kevin hears it and he's like, yeah, man, like, that's that shit. Like, yeah, that's the single right there. Like, let's do it up. Like, I'm going to hit that shit tonight. And I'm like, all right, cool. And he, like, sent me videos later on of his, like, voice on it. I'm like, this is perfect. What a way to come back. Like, I have, like, all these Miley Cyrus and Juicy J, you know, like, Pitbull and, like, type, you know, royalties. And they're finally about to start hitting my accounts. And at the same time, I get, like, a Kevin Gates single that I produced and wrote, like, so I'm like, all right, like, I'm up. And oddly enough, Kevin Gates starts uploading videos online where he'd, like, say he would get, like, a new grill, right? And he'd be, like, showing off his teeth, like, with the new grill. But he would be playing the song with my voice on it, Finessin. Not like his version, but my version. And this is at a time when, like, Meek Mill and Drake were, like, you know, Meek Mill made this big deal about how Drake had ghostwriters and stuff. So I'm like, dude, why are you uploading, like, you know, a song, like, what are you gonna put that song out now and the whole world's gonna know that, like, a whole nother dude had cut it before you? Like, what the hell are you doing? But at the same time, it was a blessing because I had enough people who knew what my voice sounded like and were fans of me. And they were like, people were like, what song is this? And I've never seen a reaction to just, like, clips like that in my life. Like, people were going crazy, like, hitting up my profile, like, drop this, is Kevin Gates on it and stuff. And I'm like, okay. And so his label sees this going on online, and so they're like, we need to lock this song down before, like, you know. And so they call me, and they're like, yeah, we want to get, like, the paperwork straight for Finessin, like, you know, like, who's your lawyer, like, we'll send over our offer, blah blah blah. And like, I knew other producers who had worked on that record that were getting paid, like, 10, 12K for, like, deep album cuts, not even singles, you know what I mean? So I'm expecting them to come with, like, a pretty hefty check, being that it's the single, it's already been tested on social media, you know it's gonna work, like. So I'm thinking, like, I'm gonna sell it for 30, 40 grand, maybe. And if not more. And they hit me up and they're like, hey man, here's our first deal we're offering you. And it was like for 5K. And I was just like, dude, like, what? Like, are you kidding me? And I, like, wrote them back and I was like, with all due respect, like, no, like, 5K is not even close to cutting it. Like, I need, like, 5K times 10, like, you know what I mean? And, like, they're like, like, oh, we can't give that much to, you know, like, we don't have that left in the budget, blah, 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 like. And they hit me back again, and they're like, we had to fight really hard for this, but, like, we got you, like, $7,500, bro. And I'm like, okay, man. I was like, well, once again, I politely decline, and they're like, you know, pretty pissed. They're like, oh, like, this is supposed to be the single, like, I'm like, well, like, I believe it's worth more. And, your artist has been like previewing it with my voice on it. Like, at this point, I'm a part of the song. And that was another thing. I was like, you also, I don't not only want higher numbers, but I want to be like featured on the song as well. Because it's going to make 0 sense if Kevin Gates puts out like a karaoke version of this song.
Right.
Like at this point, you got to keep me on the song. And they're like, saying like, oh, we can't promise that. Like, which basically means no. Like, if you can't put that in a contract that like, hey, you're going to be on the song, then, whatever. And so I turned them down. And Kevin Gates and I's friendship means a lot to me. So I call up Gates and I'm like, look, man, your label is offering me like BS numbers on this song. Like, I'm like, you've been posting clips of it with my voice on it. The world thinks it's like our song or my song at this point. Like, we can't put it out, just you, dude. Like, that's going to be like a bad look. Like, and at the time, he was saying like things like, I want to sign you to BWA, which is his like record label, and like, like I want to do this up big. Let's blow up together. And so like I'm like, hey, the best way for us to blow up together is we put this out as a BWA song. I stay on the song. You feature. I keep 100% of the fucking of the proceeds, and you make more yourself too, like, and it's a good start for us to like start the BWA thing with me and stuff, like. And he's like, man, like, he's like, I gotta be honest with you, bro. Like, I feel like you're like, you gave me that song and you're like taking it back now. And I'm like, well, dude, I'm calling you man to man. Like, I'm not taking it back. I'm just telling you, like, hey, I think we should do it together and, like, screw your label. Like, why would you, even as my friend, like, you shouldn't want your label to screw me over. Like, he's like, oh, well, like, I believe the song is worth more than, like you're worried about the short term, like, come up from it, like, versus, like, the long-term relationship that we're going to build together and stuff. And I'm like, okay, dude, like, you can feel how you feel about it. Like, I want to put the song out featuring you. Like, and I'd love to shoot a video for it and do it proper too,
Right.
So, I wait like a month and I'm emailing him and his engineer every day. Like, hey, can you send me your verse? Can you send me your verse? And he wouldn't send me his verse. And so finally, after about a month, I'm with my best friend and he's like, dude, you got to drop this song. Like, it's like 420, and he's like, just drop the song, man. Just give it to the people. Like, see what happens. And I'm like, oh, like, no, I want to wait for Gates' like verse. Like,
give it to the people.
And he's like, just drop it, dude. Like, he's like, if Gates sends you a verse, you can like put it as like a remix later and like milk it for even more. I'm like, you know what? You're right. So I just like decide, you know what? I go on SoundCloud, put it on SoundCloud, and literally just post the link on my Instagram and Twitter, like, hey, the song's out. And I like see my Gmail blinking, and I'm thinking it's SoundCloud letting me know, like, hey, your song went up properly, blah, blah, blah. And so I look at the Gmail, and it was Kevin Gates' verse, like the same verse that I've been asking for a month. And I'm like freaking out, and I'm like telling my friend, like, bro, like, we gotta like take it down and put Gates' verse on it, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, like, just let it run, and like, you have like a Kevin Gates remix. And like, I was like, all right, you're right. And I want to say like on the first day, it got like 1.2, 1.5 million plays. Like, it just instantly went berserk.
I don't understand. Kevin Gates released your song?
No.
He was waiting for Kevin Gates to send him like a verse, like a line in his song, and he never sent it. And the day that he released,
he agreed to do that.
Yeah.
but he just hadn't seen it.
He just didn't
send
do
it.
it. Okay.
And then
Yeah.
the day that it was released was the same day that Kevin had finally sent it. Yeah.
Well, just fucking too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it honestly ended up being a blessing in disguise because the original gained so much traction on its own.
Right.
Which, is cool because, like, it's like you're gaining traction as an artist, not like, oh, you got a Kevin Gates feature, so of course it's blowing up. Like, so yeah, that happens. The song's blowing up. When I tell you, like, literally every single, like, record label and rapper with a record label and stuff is, like, in my DMs and, like, texting me and emailing me and stuff, like, hey, we're interested in signing you, blah, 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 like pretty much everyone was, like, hitting me up to sign me. The crazy part is I had just got out of, like, a major deal, so I had seen, like, when they put promotion behind the song, just the machine behind it, basically, and it was so cool to see a song that all I did was post a link to, no marketing, no nothing, when I trusted my gut going crazy.
You didn't trust your gut. Your buddy trusted your gut. You didn't want to put it out at all. You were
That's true.
Your buddy's the one. That your buddy really needs to be the one managing you.
You know what's funny is, like, I had the song and, like, I would notice, like, the setting was kind of like we were allowed to, like, smoke, bud in that room, and so, like, a lot of the homies would come over and hang out and, like, watch us record and stuff, and Finessin was the one they would always be like, hey, play that Finessin song, and, like, I was just making so many songs at the time, like, 2-3 songs a day that I just, like, thought it was cool. I thought it was good, but I didn't think, like, this is the one that's gonna, like, blow up or whatever. But anyway, so I put it out, and all of the labels and stuff are, like, hitting me up, and I'm just kind of like, I just got out of a record deal. Like, I'm going to collect the money on this shit and run it up. And, like, you know what I mean? And one day, I get this DM from this guy named Petey. Like, his Instagram is literally just Petey. And all of his photos are, like, it's like him on a private jet with Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj and, like, hanging out with Drake and, like, So I can tell he's, like, obviously very entwined in the Young Money, like, which is Lil Wayne's, like, record label.
Right.
Like, he's entwined in the world, but, like, I don't know, he doesn't have, like, a title or anything like that. So, like, I'm kind of, like, wary, like, you never know. Somebody can hang out with them for a week and have a bunch of pictures, and then, there's a lot of just, like, weirdos in the music industry who will try to sell you a dream and stuff, especially when you have, like, a big song going on. So he's hitting me up, and he's like, hey, like, are you signed? Like, blah, blah, blah. Would you be interested in signing Young Money? And, like, Lil Wayne is, like, my goat. He's, like, my hero. Like, if, like, it was, like, a bucket list, like, yes, of course, I would love to sign Young Money. And he's like, Wayne's really messing with you. He loves your stuff. Like, let's keep talking, and, like, we'll meet up soon, and blah, blah, blah. So we talked for, like, 2 weeks, and I finally get to the point where I'm just like, look, I got other labels who are, like, giving me real number figures and, like, offering me real deals, and, like, like, I can't keep just, like, dragging along and, like, getting messages from you who I barely know. You could be anybody saying that Wayne loves me and wants to sign me. Like, I was like, if Wayne wants to sign me, tell Wayne to call me and let me know he wants to sign me. I was like, other than that, like, I appreciate it, but we don't have much to talk about. He's like, oh, man. He's like, you really gonna pull my card like that? He's like, he's like, give me like 10 minutes. He's like, I'll have a phone call that shows you it's real. And I'm like, okay. So I'm waiting there for like 10 minutes, and I get this like FaceTime from like a 504 number, which is New Orleans, Louisiana, which is where Wayne's from. I'm like, oh, well, crap, I wonder who this could be. So I open the FaceTime, and I'm like, hello? And it's like, he's got like the phone in his lap, and like, so you can see, I'm guessing like it's a Rolls Royce. You know, they have like stars in the top, you know? And I just see like smoke billowing out, like, and it just looks like the phone is kind of like on his lap. And I'm like, who the heck is this, you know? And I'm like, hello? Like, and he just like picks up the phone. He's like, that's real enough for you, white boy. And I'm like, I was like, yeah, man. I was like, pleasure to meet you. I was like, oh, you're my, and like, bleep, he just like hung up, and I was like, okay, I don't know what that was, but I guess, you know,
I'll go with the other label.
I was like, that's, you know, confirmation that he's serious. And sure enough, within like a week, we go and we meet up in LA and hang out, and like, you know, we just hit it off. And I feel like, you know, Young Money is like a good place to like, you know, do my thing. And it was like I said, it was like a dream come true. Like Lil Wayne had never even like really signed or like messed with any sort of like white dude or white rapper at that point. Like, you know, so like, I don't know. It was just a big honor, period, whether I was white or not. Like, so yeah, I signed to Wheezy, and I'm just like going crazy. Like, I'm like touring with him and like having to like, you know, find ways to like score, you know, the stuff I need like on the road. And like, there's like these like secret websites I knew about and stuff. And like, I don't know, it was just like a crazy time. And eventually I just tell the Young Money crew like, hey, like, I want to go back home and record and stuff. Like, I appreciate you guys bringing me on the road, but like, you know, like, it's only going to take me so far, because, you know, Wayne was nice enough to like bring me out every night and perform my song Finessin with him. But like other,
what does that do for you though?
Yeah.
Does it sell you more songs, or maybe?
I mean, and especially as the songs getting like 2 or 3 more years old, it's like, it's kind of like beating a dead horse. Like, it's like, yeah, the people who see that show that night, that might like bring me some followers and exposure or whatever. Ultimately, I knew I just needed to go home and like lock in and make records and just like shoot videos and do my own thing again. And so I'm living in this condo in Sherman Oaks with my girl. We've been together maybe like, I don't know, 8 to 10 years at this point. Like, we've been together a long time, on and off.
Right.
Honestly, like, money was tight, and I knew enough people who would ask me like where to get stuff from. And so like, I eventually just would get enough to like basically like give it to them and be able to do my stuff for free by like selling, you know, like an ounce or something like that at a time. I was talking to my girl about it, and I was just like, you know, like, if I ever got caught doing this, like, it's not like a judge or a DA is going to be like, oh, this kid was just supporting his habit and helping his friends out. A drug dealing charge is a drug dealing charge. So I was like, you know, like, I should
say they would say all that. They'd still charge you with. They still charge you with being a drug dealer.
Yeah, I'd still get a drug dealer.
They'll still say, you know, he's doing it to support his habit.
Yeah, but
by the way, he was also selling, so he's gonna get the charge.
Yeah, it's no different than just actually doing
it.
And I was like an internet nerd at the time. Like, so you know how Reddit has like these like sub thing, like,
Substacks. What do they call them?
They're called like something like
Substack. That's not right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But it's like say you're into like racing cars, r-racing cars,
Yeah,
or
like
whatever.
subreddits.
Subreddits, yeah. Okay.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, you said Substack.
Oh, Substack. That's
But yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking
They have
about.
it for anything. YouTube
No.
analytics,
Keep going.
anything.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So there was this subreddit called R Opiates, and it was just basically like, it was dumb, but you would like post your scores and like say how good it was, and like just talk about like the life of being an opioid addict. I don't know. It's kind of a dark place, but anyway. And once you're on there long enough, you get like hooked up with this other subreddit that's a lot more exclusive called Opiate Roll Call. And Opiate Roll Call was sectioned off into states, and then you would click the state, and then you would click like the basically like the area code you were looking for stuff in. And say if someone was like getting rid of stuff, they would put like, hey, I'm a local friend, I'm a good friend to have, like I can take care of your needs, just let me know. And they had a review system to where like if people would see that person and have a good experience with them, they would put like plus signs and be like, this is a great friend to have, like no shadiness, like blah blah blah. And if you were like a scammer or like a dirtbag, like they would like attack you and be like, negative, this person scammed me, they sold me Nesquik powder, blah blah blah, like, you know. And like even if people would try to make like new usernames, like, and start doing it again, they'd be like, this is the same person as. So like it was an interesting little like, you know, ecosystem. And so that's how I like basically stayed afloat on tour, like, because, you know, I'd hit up people like I even in South Dakota managed to like get stuff. Like I would hit up the people and just basically be like, hey, like if you help me out and don't do me dirty, like I got like 2 free Lil Wayne tickets for you, blah blah blah. And like, yeah, I met a lot of cool people, oddly enough, doing that. But so I'm back, and I'm not on tour with Wayne anymore, and I decide like, okay, I'm gonna start selling drugs. So I start out in the subreddit r Opiate Roll Call, and I'm like, I'm gonna build a good, like, you know, rapport there and get a lot of plus signs and stuff. And so I start doing it on there, and it's just like slow, and like a lot of the people who were hitting me up were just like broke and asking for really small amounts and stuff. And like, I don't know, I was just kind of like, all right, whatever, like this obviously isn't like the way. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what, like there have been times where I needed stuff, and on Craigslist, if you know the right lingo, you can't do this anymore. But back then, people would say like roofing tar for sale, $80 a gallon, which meant like $80 like a gram. And they would say like getting rid of some of my mom's fine china, which meant like, you know, like powder, like snow. They'd be like, call me if interested, and they'd like say they had meth too, or ice. Say they had ice too. They would say like ask for crystal, right, on the number. So like if you're law enforcement, like even if you know like what they're doing, like it's just there's no warrant that's gonna be like, you know, he's not like obviously selling drugs or anything. Like, so I decided like, you know what, I'm gonna try putting one of those like ads up and just see if anyone calls me. Like, dude, to my surprise, I put up the ad, and like the first night just started going bonkers, and I was like, oh. And like it was also like scary because like I thought about sort of like the OPSEC and the security of it, and I was like, you know, how can I make sure these people aren't like cops, and like also how do I kind of get a scan on who they are? And so like I would tell them like, hey, I made this like ghost Facebook account, and so I would tell them like, hey, like I need a photo of your like license or passport, and I need like your Facebook. Because if you have Facebook, someone's Facebook, you not only have access to them, you have access to their mom, their dad, their boyfriend, their brothers, their sisters, their friends, you know, like, anyway, it was just a great way of having like information on people. And so like, yeah, I would get these people's info, and like I would like look at the ID and the photos and make sure they like match the person that I was meeting up with and stuff. And like there was some app at the time that I bought that like you could run through and see if it was like a law enforcement like number and stuff. And so like, yeah, I tried to keep it as like safe as I could. And within maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like we had bought like 2 extra phones, and like we had to take the ads down off of Craigslist because we got so many calls. Like the clientele just went like insane, like overnight. And so we go from, you know, like being bored and like trying to like get people on Reddit to like hit us up to like, holy crap, like our entire lives would be like answering calls. Hey, I want this much, I want that much, like weighing out the stuff and, you know, running up and down the stairs. And the craziest part about it, or not the craziest, but one of the funniest parts about it is like the condo we were living in was like this like super like sort of retired like Jewish community condo. It was like a very like quiet neighborhood, and like not a lot of like stuff like that was going on at all. And like even before any of the like drug dealing and stuff happened, they like really didn't like the fact that we moved in. And you know, I think they just kind of maybe saw the tattoos and stuff and like whatever. They would like complain about like smells constantly, and even though we weren't even smoking, and just stuff like that. And it just gets like berserk. The way I ran the business, I treated it like a real business. And my sort of like MO was like, hey, I'm gonna be the dealer guy that like I've always wanted, where you call and you get what you pay for, and it's not gonna be short, you know what I mean? If they say, hey, I'll be out in 5-10 minutes, they're actually out in 5-10 minutes. Like, just the simple stuff of like, you know, answering quickly, and like, cause you know, I knew what it's like, and when you're on, when you're on H, like, your dealer is kind of like your master in a way. And if they're not answering and you can't get like, you know, you miss work, you miss, you know, important stuff. Like, so yeah, I just never wanted to be that guy to people. And like, if I couldn't help them out, I'd, you know, tell them like, hey, you got to go somewhere else for tonight or whatever. But anyway, we're doing this. We're running it like a Chick-fil-A, in and out, like just, you know, full service, like happy customers, like, and we're going by secret names. I'm telling people that my name's Sebastian or Bash, and my ex, she's going by the name Nikki. It'd be so embarrassing sometimes because I would go and like, you know, get in someone's car to like bring them the stuff they had ordered from me. And I would get back, I'd get in the car and I'd be like, all right, I was always like a money first guy. Like, give me the money and count it and give them their stuff and be like, hey, have a good day. And they'd be like, hey, there's this rapper guy named Baby E. Like, you look just like him. Like, are you Baby E? And I'd be like, nah. I'd be like, it's so crazy. Like, so many people tell me I look like that guy. Like, it's so weird. He's like my twin brother or something, man. Like, and they'd look at me like, okay, dude. Like,
At this time, did you have the face tat?
yeah.
And did Baby E have the face tat?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And then, like, there was this one girl who was like, I told her, I was like, no, like, I'm not Baby E. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's weird. Like, and she pulled up my Instagram and she was like, bro, this is you. Like, you have the same exact face tats and everything. Like, this is like, why are you lying?
It's crazy.
I'm like, all right, you can't tell nobody about this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and she's like, what? Like, I don't get to tell people, like, Baby E's my drug dealer. Like, and I'm just like, no, dude. Because I wanted to keep these two, like, really separated, you know? Like, after everything I'd been through with people just kind of judging me for doing drugs and stuff, last thing I want them to know. But one of the craziest parts is, like, you know, the producer guy I was signed to, like, he had done his thing, you know, with certain products when he was younger. And he almost got this weird kick out of, like, knowing that I was doing that. So it's running like a machine, like, you know, everything's great. Like, I'm thinking, like, I'm so far gone from the thought of, like, thinking that we're ever going to get busted by police because, like, I'm going to, like, re-up and I'm going into these, like, you know, gang and, like, cartel houses and I'm seeing, you know, bricks, like, stacked 10 feet high of everything you can think of. And, you know, they just got dudes with, like, machine guns and, like, there's just, like, a cute chick at the front, like, with, like, a little desk and, like, a money counter, you know, and, you know, as long as you showed up with the money, like, they let you leave with what you want, and it was as simple as that, you know? As long as you were doing good business, there was never any problems. Like, I don't know, like, if you're from the Valley, a lot of people will probably know, at the time, there was this thing called Manny's Delivery Service, right? And you had the number, and you could literally call, and whether you wanted grams or ounces or multiple ounces of whatever, they would literally, like, deliver it to you. And, like, if you became a regular enough customer, you would, you know, if you're getting enough stuff, you would get invited to, like, a warehouse or something to, like, go pick up the stuff. It created this big void because, like, even though people could call the number and get the stuff from them themselves, it was, like, a long wait, you know, like, the guys were constantly busy with deliveries and stuff. So they would, like, call us and request, like, hey, do you have, like, Manny stuff, blah, blah, blah. And we'd be like, yeah. And so eventually Manny's Delivery Service gets busted. Like, they get, like, 5-10 spots rated, and it creates this big vacuum where in the Valley, like, so many people went to Manny, or the people they went to had also went to Manny too. And luckily we had known other people to get supply from. So when that happened, like, we had a whole nother surge. And, like, yeah, just long story short, like, one time we literally tried to go watch a 2-hour movie, dude, like, right around the corner from our house. And we had this rule, like, don't lurk around the house, like, don't hang out, you know what I mean? Like, don't make our, like, block hot, basically. And we come home from this movie, and we just had all these missed calls and texts on all of our phones, but we were like, whatever, like, we needed a break. And we get back to our neighborhood, And dude, like, there's this like traffic jam of just like, I don't know, if I had to guess, maybe like 40, 50 cars that were just waiting for us to get home. Like, it was just insanity.
They knew
like,
where you lived?
They knew the building we lived
Okay.
in. We never let anyone know, like, what door we
Right.
came in and out of. Like, all they knew was we came out of this building and, like, yeah. And that was very much on purpose. Like, so yeah, 2 or 3 years goes by. Everything's going great. And like I said, I had seen such other bigger things going on that I thought, like, if law enforcement's looking for anyone, if they're trying to take care of anyone, they're going after the big guys with the stash houses.
Right.
And, like, they're not worried about some white dude in freaking Sherman Oaks flipping, you know, this and, you know. But sure enough, one day my ex, the girl that I was, like, doing this whole thing with, she... like, we would stay awake, like, we wouldn't even do, like, the upper drugs, you know what I mean? Like, we did, like the H and the Xanax bars and stuff, but, like, we'd still be up for 3 days sometimes and stuff, and, she goes and gets a re-up, and I stay at the house and, like, keep taking care of the customers, and... I noticed, like, man, she's been gone for like 2 or 3 hours. Like, it should have taken her like an hour at most. Like, where is she? And, like, calling her and she won't answer. So she had went and re-upped and put, like, you know, it was like a ton of stuff in the passenger seat next to her. She didn't even put it in a bag and cover it or anything. And she falls asleep at a freaking red light, dude. And the cops pull up behind her, immediately see what's in the passenger seat, you know, and her, like, passed out, probably with, like, a foil or something in her lap, like, you know. And she convinces them that she has that much stuff because, like, she's just a user and she's not selling it. She just wants to get it for cheaper pricing and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, so they only charge her with, like, basically possession instead of, like, with intent to sell or anything. And she had, like, a tiny bond. I ended up having to go, like, bond her out for this stuff and everything and, like, get the car from being towed. And so she comes back and I'm, like, mad at her, obviously. I'm like, you know, you're slacking, you're slipping. Like, I would never do that. Like, how could you do that? I was like, you're not allowed to, like, go outside right now. Like, you're too hot. Like, I want you to just stay inside and, like, weigh the bags and, like, handle the phones. Like, you need to, like, sober up and, like, work on yourself and, like, really think about what just happened. And so, little did I know, the cops that had busted her decided that they just were going to start, like, basically, you know, surveilling our apartment. And they knew which one she lived in. And they see me coming in and out of the freaking door every 10, 15 minutes, getting in 3 cars, making hand deals. Like, I'm obviously, like, you know, moving drugs. So they began building a case on me, and I guess just taking photos. And I think in my discovery, it said they built like a 4 to 6 month case on me. And so they couldn't get a warrant, though, because they didn't know my name. Like, my name wasn't on the lease with my girl, so, like, I'm kind of like a ghost to them. And anyone they might have talked to who, like, I had sold to would know me as, like, Sebastian or Bash. So, like, that would just send them on a wild goose chase. One day, this kid I knew for a long time, he had been going through it, him, his girl, and his little baby girl are like living in like the extra spare room at his dad's house. His dad owns a construction company and is like giving him a job. He's on probation, but of course his dumbass relapses. And like I knew him way before the drug dealing and all that stuff when we were both just like buying from like the same guy. And he calls me literally crying one day, and he's like, dude, like I'm like in withdrawals, like I have to go to work for my dad in a couple hours, like I'm so sick, I don't know what to do, like I've heard you're like doing it real big right now, like if there's any way you could help me and just like, you know, do me a solid, bro, like I swear I'll pay you back even if it's in small payments, like whatever. And I had to like go towards where he was at anyway, so I was like, you know what, like as messed up as this is, I was like, I'm gonna do a good deed and give this guy some free drugs and like hook him up. So I give him like 6 grams for free, which is a pretty substantial amount. That's 8 times 6 is, what's 8 times 6?
48.
48. So yeah, that's like $480 right there. And I give him like a free, like, you know, 8 balls
Wait,
of snow.
It's how much? What'd you say?
480, because it's 80 a
480.
gram. Yeah, 80 times 6.
I thought it was like $48. It's
No.
$480.
Yeah, I gave him $480
We're not that close.
worth of
I
stuff.
don't have any friends that close.
Dude, I was making so much money hand over fist at the time. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to do a charitable thing. I know what it's like to be down and out. And, like, when you're hooked on opioids or, like, H or whatever, like, it becomes literally, like, food for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need it to survive. It's not like you even want to do it to just, like, you know, get high or check out or whatever. It becomes like a source of just like literally functioning. And I told him, I was like, I'm gonna give you these 6, and then like you need to go to the methadone clinic or something, dude. Like, you know, like he's like, yeah, thank you, bro. And like I knew he liked, you know, the snow, so like I gave him like a free 8 ball of snow. And like, so I would, a lot of times, if I was doing stuff related to my business, I would get in Lyfts and Ubers, because there was a law that, like, say the Lyft or the Uber got pulled over, I could put the stash, like, in the seat.
Yeah.
And if a cop found it, then
Could have been the last guy.
dude, I don't know where that came from. Right. Like, I don't know if that law still exists, but yeah, that's like pretty much why I would do it. And so they had tailed me from my house and all the way to meeting up with this guy. So like I pull into the parking lot where he's out. I literally just jump out of my Lyft, throw the stuff on his lap. I tell him how much it is, and I, you know, give him a pep talk like, hey, you're gonna be all right. Like, just like take care of yourself and remember this when like, you know, somebody else needs help or something, bro. Like, just pass it along. And he's like, oh, thank you, bro. Like, you're saving the day for me, blah, blah, blah. So I tear out in my Lyft because I got other errands to run. And the police had been tailing me. And by the time they pull into the parking lot, my Lyft pulls away, but they had seen me, like, hand him stuff in his car. So they follow him all the way back to his crib, which is like 0.2 miles away from where we met up in the parking lot. He pulls into his driveway, and the police park behind him, light up, and they walk up to him, and like his like dad standing on the porch, and his like baby mama standing there like holding the baby, and he's like, oh my God, like shit. And you know, he's dumb, so he was like getting high immediately, and he's got like foil on his like lap and stuff. And they run his name, they see that he's on probation and stuff, and they can see just how scared he is, you know. They're like, so listen, here's the deal. We can either violate your probation right now, give you new drug charges, do this all in front of like your family, or you can do us the simple favor of telling us the first and last name of the person who just gave you the stuff. Like, we saw it happen in the parking lot. And he's like, so, like, what does that mean? Like, you'll just completely let me go if I give you his, like real name? And they're like, yeah. And so he ends up giving them my real name. I guess they look me up and see my, like,
They let him go?
my photo on the license, and they just completely let him go. Didn't even take the drugs from him. Like, so as crappy as it is, and I would never snitch on someone, like, I can kind of sort of see why he would just be like, all right, dude, like,
Yeah, he's in a bad spot.
life's just going to shit. The last thing I need, like, what kind of glory am I gonna get for, you know? He's on, so whatever. I don't even blame him. I would never do it myself, but whatever. And so at that point, the cops were able to get a warrant with my real name. And so I didn't only get hit with a SWAT team, I got hit with a gang unit, LAPD gang unit SWAT team, which is like SWAT team times 10. Like, you would have thought they were coming to get El Chapo or El Mencho, dude. Like, when I tell you they were in, like, every window, every freaking escape route, like it was, like, weird. It was, like, some SEAL Team 6 stuff or something. But, so the night before this happens, my buddy calls me, and he's like, dude, I just got freaking robbed. Like, I don't have nothing. My phone's blowing up. I got a bunch of customers to take care of. And, like, I really need to make the money back tonight. All the plugs are, like, asleep and stuff. Like, it's, like, super late as hell. And he's like, please tell me you have, like, some stuff you can, like, you know, help me out with. And I'm like, yeah, I have plenty. So he comes over and he buys me out. He buys everything I got. I'm talking about all of the H, all of the, you know, the Chris, all of the Snow, like all the bars, you know, everything. And so I'm pumped. I'm like, I just gotta wake up early and go see my guy and get more stuff. But like, yeah, that was a big, you know, purchase. And so I had nothing left in my house except a little bit of personal, like, you know, H for me and my, you know, habit or whatever. So I had 2 safes, like one that was up in my, like, you know, bedroom, and every time it would hit, you know, between 5 and 10 grand, I had this other safe downstairs where, like, my truck was, like, there was a truck parked in front of it. And that's where I'd keep, like, the big stashes of the product and, like, the large amount of monies and stuff like that. And I would close it and lock it, and then you drive the truck right up in front of it. So, like, no one could, like, rip it open and get into the safe if they ever found out where it was. So I had emptied out the crib. Like, we literally didn't have, like, any stuff. We didn't have any money up in the crib. Like, it was, like, the one time it was ever like that. And I, like, am about to go to bed, and I'm, like, so stoked because I turn off my phone, and I'm, like, finally going to get a few hours of rest. I just hear this super unfriendly knock. Like, boom, boom, boom. It's, like, out of a scary movie or something. I'm like, what the hell? Like, and I tell my girl, I'm like, babe, like, go look at the peephole and see who that is. Like, and so I'm more worried about, like, getting robbed by, like, another criminal than, like, the police. Because, you know, after 2 or 3 years of getting away with it, it's like, you just think it's never going to come. And she walks up and she's like, babe, like, somebody's, like, either they taped it up or they have, like, their thumb on the peephole. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm like, this isn't good. Like, this is obviously some, like, bad shit. Somebody's trying to, like, rob me or whatever. So I have this, like, tactical shotgun at the time. And I'm I walk up to the door and I just like cock it one time so they like can hear like, hey, this is what's on the other side of the door if you really want to come in. And it was like weird. It was like out of a movie. We could almost hear each other's heartbeats. Like it was so silent on both sides. And I'm just like kind of standing there and I like take a couple steps back. So if they're going to kick in the door, like they're going to get a blast as soon as they walk in.
That would have been a mistake.
Oh, terrible mistake. And so I'm standing there and I didn't know this, but the SWAT teams, they have these like heat sensors, so they can see you walking around your house and what you're doing, and if you're standing there with a freaking gun, like they know exactly where you are and what you're doing. So I guess they see me standing there with a gun pointing at the front of the door, and they're like, okay, we got to come in crazy, because like I'm just like, reveal yourself. I'm like be a man, like tell me who you are, like at least say your freaking name. Like finally, like, I guess they use like a mini C4, because this definitely couldn't happen with one of those like rammers, you know? And I had like double doors in my condo, these two big, huge, beautiful double doors. And they just both go, and like shrapnel freaking flies all over my face and like hits me. And I'm wearing like, you know, underwear and stuff. And like, I'm like, like shit, like, and all I see is just like smoke and like, and I'm looking and I'm like, these are either like cartel hitmen or like some like military officers or some shit. Like, who the hell are these people? Like, they're all tacticaled out and stuff, you know? And they're like, drop the weapon, drop the weapon. I was like, all right, I'm gonna drop the weapon. Do not shoot me. And they're like, don't make us count to 3. They're like, 3, 2, and I'm like, and I drop it, and then they like all just like tackle me, you know, and being rough with me, and I guess trying to teach me my lesson, and they arrest me, and they arrest my girl at the same time, and they take us and they sit us down in the living room, like at my computer desk, and they're just like going through everything, just turning our apartment like upside down, dude, like. And the head, like, I guess, like, guy on the case, like, walks up to me and he's like, look, dude, we're gonna bring dogs in here, we're gonna turn this place upside down, like, you got some nice furniture and mattresses, like, you might as well just tell me where it's at, dude, we're gonna find it. And I was like, bro, I promise you, like, just for the sake of my time and yours, like, there's nothing in this house to find at this moment. Like, he's like, okay, you want to play that game? And they're like ripping through our like, you know, super expensive couches and just being jerks, just taking like nice books and throwing them off the shelves, you know, like they're taking apart like every AC vent, like just running dogs through and like, and, you know, they eventually get to the point where they're like, okay, there's nothing in here. Like, he's like, it's, you know, you hit it well, or like, whatever, like, we can't find it. And I was like, I'm telling you, like, there's nothing here. And so he's like, you know what we're here for, right? Like, you know why we're here to get you, right? And I'm like, no, sir. Like, I have no clue. Like, you know, I don't know. Like, I haven't even seen the warrant y'all guys got, like, trying to play it cool and stuff. And so they take me and my girlfriend in. They take us both in separate interrogation rooms at the beginning. I told her, I was like, just play the, like, dumb girlfriend role that, like, you don't know why they were here, like, if he's selling drugs and I'm breaking up with him because I didn't know that, you know, like.
She's on probation for fucking
yeah,
drugs.
but, like, you know what I mean? Like she's so beautiful that, like, you wouldn't believe the type of shit that, like, people will fall from her.
They kicked at my door and said,
you know why we're here. I'd be like, yeah, my girlfriend's selling drugs. She's already on
my
probation.
God,
I'm shocked you guys
no.
waited this long.
No.
You know she has a history. I mean, she's already on probation. You guys caught her 2 months ago at the light.
Yeah, that was, at the time, that was baby girl, so I'm not gonna throw her down the drain for that. Like, and at the end of the day, it was mostly me, for real. And so
Are you at the police station?
yeah, so we're at the substation at this point. We're getting interrogated, and I got she just played the stupid girlfriend. I didn't know any of this was going down role, and they end up just letting her free, no bond, no charges or anything. They're talking to me, and from the moment the interrogation starts, I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna say anything. I want a lawyer. You're wasting my time and yours by trying to interrogate me. And eventually they're trying to good cop, bad cop me. And they're like, man, you have all this going on with your music and stuff. Because I guess they have been lurking my social media while building the case on me. And they're like, man, you're signed with Lil Wayne and stuff. Why are you out there doing all this on the street? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. And at the time, I had this song I was about to put out called No Snitching. And the cop's he's like, so you still gonna drop that song, No Snitching? And I was like, yeah, it comes out in 2 days, actually. And he was like, well, we're gonna find out if you really mean what you say in your raps. And I'm like, I already told you, dude, I want a lawyer. And they bring me a burger and a Coke. And they're like, come and sit down. And they're like, look, man, we can tell you're a smart, intelligent kid. And we get it. You got sucked into a life of selling drugs. The fast money's coming in. You're obviously really a musician. That's what you love and want to do. And you just made a mistake, man. This is your first charge. And they were like,
yeah, they don't even have on. You don't even have anything.
Yeah, and they're like, so this is what we're offering you. They're like, we'll give you a completely free, you can walk out of here today, no charges, and you'll be an employee of the state of California. You'll get state of California employee benefits like health insurance and dental. And we will pay you a monthly salary to continue selling drugs and moving up. And all you got to do is feed us information about your plugs. And they're like, you literally get paid to be a drug dealer and get health insurance. And you'd be making as much as me. And you're going to get to keep all your drug dealing money. I was like, that sounds
pretty good.
That does sound.
That's carte blanche to be a full-time drug dealer.
I was like, you know what? Now that I think about it, and you mention all that, there is something I really like to tell you guys. And they're like, yeah, and they're like, yeah, I knew you were a good kid, man. And they go to write it down on their notepad, and I was like, so yeah, what I'd like to tell you is, I'd like to speak to my fucking lawyer. And they're like, fuck you, man. You fucking wasted our time. And they take the burger and throw it away and shit. And they're like put him in a cell by himself and shit.
That burger before you said that.
Yeah. And so I'm like, whatever, dude. And I knew, in the back of my mind, they didn't find shit at my crib.
They don't have anything.
They were literally, dude, pulling at straws so bad that they were putting $1 bills they had found in pants of mine, in evidence and shit. Took all my laptops, took every single Louis Vuitton duffel bag, all my girls' Chanel bags,
Do they have controlled buys on you? Anything?
Not that I know of.
Or you would know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have come out. You sold it.
They just
CI1, CI2. You bought 3 times from CI2.
They just had, I was so slick with it. But, how many photos do they need of me getting in cars and doing hand to hand and counting money in the middle of the street? before it's like, what else would he be doing? And they have the new guy who snitched on me and told me that, told them like, oh, he's a big drug dealer now, blah, blah, blah. So,
I mean, that's enough for what, probation? You know what I'm saying? What
this is what happens. So they bail me out. They give me this like $50,000 bail. My girl bails me out immediately. And I hire this lawyer, just a fucking great white shark of criminal defense in the area. Van Nuys, like, if you got him, like, you're good. The whole time he's like, you're good. Like, they didn't find shit at your house. Like, even if we got to take this to trial, like, they're not going to get shit. Like, you might get offered, like, maybe some, like, what is it called when you go to rehab, but you're not actually, like, staying there every day?
It's like a diversion program where you're like,
I forgot what it's
outpatient.
Called. Outpatient rehab, yeah. Like, so, like, he was like, you probably get, like, 6 months of outpatient or something. Like, we'll work it out. Like, you'll be good. Like, you won't serve a day. And so, like, at this time, honestly, I'm so deep in my addiction that, like, honestly, I would wake up and throw 10 Xanax down my throat. Like, that was, like, the start of my day. I was taking 40 to 60 Xanax bars a day. Like, insanity. On top of doing, like, tons of Fenny and, like...
What do they offer you? What do you get?
So we're going through, and my lawyer's doing this thing where he's just, like, prolonging it over and over. Every time we go in, hey, we need more time, and then we come see him, 90 days later. And the reason why he's doing that is because after, like, a year and a half, the judge is going to be like, all right, we've been spending a year and a half on this kid who, was...
You got with no drugs and a bunch of photos and some people saying he's a drug dealer.
Like, so my lawyer's trying to wear him down. And, like, bear in mind, like, the first day we go into court, my lawyer walks up to, like, the district attorney and is like, oh, like, tell Marge, like, we can't wait to come over and have our lasagna this week. And I'm like, oh, like... And he walks up to the judge and he's like, you owe me 9 holes, you old fogey, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're just mad I beat you on the last game. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, like, my lawyer's in with, like, the judge and the DA, like, we're good. And one day, I had just, like, not realized his office number was calling me, So, like, I'm thinking I'm just going to show up. He's going to do another, like, let's make it last longer thing. And he's like, why haven't you been answering my calls? And I'm like, oh, I didn't notice you were calling me. He's like, dude, like, we got to talk. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, they got into your cell phones. I'm like, okay, like, what does that change? Like, they already knew that I was, like, selling stuff. And, like, they had photos of me doing it. Like, they had someone admitting that, like, and I was like, technically I gave that guy stuff, like, but whatever. And he's like, no, man. He's like, I'm your lawyer. I told you, like, you got to tell me everything. And I'm like, I did tell you everything. And he's like, you didn't tell me you were, like, buying guns, moving, like, freaking large amounts of ammunition out of Vegas and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I was like, wait, what? And I, like, had forgot about it. And I was just so deep in the, like, hustling game that anything that came across my table that I could make $1 on at that point, I was like, yeah. And there was a dude who basically had access to a lot of cheap ammunition and weapons. And I knew a lot of guys who wanted a lot of cheap ammunition and weapons. And the dude's supply was in Vegas. And we would have, like, trucks and U-Hauls bring back, like, we'd get orders, and like, it was something crazy. Like, we were getting, like, crazy, like, 50 cal bullets for, like, I don't even know, like, this is just, like, a wild guess, but, like, say 25, 30 cents and then flipping them for like $1 or something. Like, I don't know. It was a big markup. And when guys are buying like 100,000 bullets or something, like that adds up to a lot. So I forgot I even did this. I was like, yeah, yeah, that was just like a couple things. Like, he was like, dude, like, he's like, that's like interstate, like, arms trafficking. And I'm like, what? Like, and he's like,
that's a respectable charge. That's like being a bank robber.
and
It's a good charge.
I was like, what? He's like, here's the deal today. They're going to offer you a plea deal where you plead guilty to the drug dealing charges, and they're going to offer you 3 years in county jail. He's like, which you'll maybe do like
a year,
6 months to a year of that. Like, you might even get out in 3 months. Like, you never know. After that, like 2 or 3 years of house arrest, and then after that, like 3 more years of probation. I'm like, holy shit, this is like a freaking 9-year sentence. Like, he's like, it's taking that deal, or they're gonna move the trial, the case over to the ATF, and you're gonna be fighting like federally, like interstate trafficking and gun, like
was that like 10 years?
Oh, probably, I don't know. Like, I would guess, like, arms trafficking, interstate, like tons of ammunition, 50 cal, like not just like bullets, not 9mm, like, and hella guns and stuff. And like, me and my friends would just like trade guns and stuff sometimes too. And so like, he's like, yeah, so unless you want to go up against like the ATF and like have to pay me another like 15 grand to start litigation on a federal case and whatnot, like, I suggest you really take these like 3 years and just like, see what like we can like do. Before this, like, my lawyer had been telling me like, hey, there's this guy I know who like helps dudes in the like house arrest section and stuff, and like you're most likely going to have house arrest on this case, so like I think it's really important you call him and like get a rapport with him going and stuff like that. And I remember thinking like what am I supposed to do, call this guy and be like, hey, my lawyer told me to hit you up, I'm going to be on house arrest in maybe a year or two, like I don't know, like, what more do we have to talk about? But I called him nonetheless. I remember right before, like, I went into the courthouse that day, my lawyer told me, like, give that number to your girl. And I was like, okay, that's an odd request, but I give that number. I go in the courtroom and I take the plea deal for the 3 years, and then I think 3 years of probation, and then 2 years of house arrest and 3 years of probation.
You mean 3 years of incarceration?
Yeah.
And 2 years, okay.
3 years of jail, incarceration.
Okay.
So they booked me into the Twin Towers down in downtown LA, and I'm just like, it's really hitting me. I'm also like withdrawing, because like I didn't expect like I'm going to jail that day. Like, LA County is just like a straight up, like, it's like an insane asylum at times, dude. It's so dirty and just nasty and such a terrible place to be. And, it starts sinking in like, wow, like this is where my actions got me. Like, this is like terrible. Like, I can't wait till I can get out of here. Like, lesson learned, and,
How long were you locked up?
Okay.
How long until you got out of there?
Okay. So it took them about 48 hours. It's so overcrowded in LA County, like, jail that like sometimes it takes them 36 to 48 hours just to like move you into like pod that has like a bed, and the beds will be like 6 beds high and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it takes 36 to 48 hours just to even get booked in and get a bed a lot of times. So after, like, you know, I finally get a bed and stuff, like, they give you this, like, this code that you can, like, call out on. I call my girlfriend, and I'm just, like, just really down in the dumps. I'm sad. I'm like, you know, this is terrible. Like, at least she's out, you know, like, taking care of the dogs. And she starts saying weird shit to me, like, hey, babe, like, if you could have anything you want for dinner tonight, like, what would you have? And then I'm like, what? Like, what the hell kind of question is that? And I'm like, I guess, like, you know, fried pork chops with, like, mashed potatoes and, like, some gravy and something like that, you know? And she's like, okay. She's like, well, you're going to have that tonight. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm thinking she's trying to be on some, like, hippy dippy, like, law of attraction. Like, I'm going to, you know.
Focus on it and it'll happen.
And I'm like, you know what, dog? Like, I don't got time for this tonight. Like, I'm in fucking hell right now. Like, I didn't call you for this kind of bullshit. Like, and she's like, well, I don't know. Something tells me that I'll see you tonight, and I'll have that dinner cooked for you. I'm like, what? He must be getting high or something. Like, so I just hang up on her because I'm mad, because I'm just like, you know, why play with my emotions like that? And so, like, I'm hanging out. About 2 hours later, the CO walks in my room, and he's like, hey, Lowry, like, roll it up. And that usually means you're either going home or you're getting, like, repositioned in the jail. Like, you're gonna, you know, get to get your own cell or something like that, or whatever. Get moved out of, like, the big dorm pods. You know, there's these lines you follow, and he's telling me to follow the line to, like, the exit of, like, the jail. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, why are we going to the exit? And, you know, I get up to the place where they're like, you know, what's your inmate number? What's your booking number? What's your name? Like, birthday? And I was like, am I getting, like, checked out right now? And they're like, yeah, unless you don't want to be. And I was like, no, like, I definitely want to, you know, get out of here. And I get out within a few hours, and I had my phone on me, and I turn my phone on, and I call my girl, and I'm like, babe, like, you will never believe this. Like, I'm out of jail. And she's like, yeah, I know. Yeah, like, I don't want to, like, incriminate myself or anybody or anything, but let's just say, imagine if someone happened to get a contact that had the power to punch you out of jail as long as you had a release date, take care of your, what is it called, house arrest, and you could pay off, like, years of probation, offer, like, a price. And as soon as you sent the money, they would, you know, no matter if you got 3 years or 10 years, as long as you had a release date, they could punch you out. And, like, it'd be like if you had a friend like that who could do it, if you know what I mean. So, but I think it was just God looking out for me, you know, the fact that I got punched out early. But anyway, yeah, so it was like a weird sort of, like, I didn't learn my lesson. And because I'm like, oh, I can just, like, I know the guy now, like, I have the plug, like, no matter what I do. But the thing is like, the probation was like 20, 30K a year to get rid of.
Right.
Which is kind of hard to come up with after it just paid for my lawyer and all that stuff like that. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it just wasn't. So I was like, whatever. I got my, you know, jail taken care of, or, you know, God helped, and my jail got, sentence got reduced, and my house arrest just, didn't have to happen. And I'm on probation, and I'm thinking very clearly and making great decisions, and I decide, oh, they already busted me. They're not going to use the resources to continue watching me and like seeing what I'm up to anymore. I'm kind of scot-free. Like, I'm going to just keep selling, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I go right back to what I'm doing, and they bring out the gang unit SWAT team on me for a second time. Yeah, I end up doing like 4 months on this one, and after that, I'm just like, after the 4 months, I was just like, I can't do this anymore, man. Like, yeah, so like I straighten up for the most part. I stopped selling. I'm still like using, but also living my life and more so pursuing my music again and just like getting more into a more normal lifestyle. Yeah, that kind of brings me to where I am today. Like, the summer of like 23, I went down to like Florida with my family and just got in nature, and I like detoxed myself, and I did really good. I stayed clean for about a year that time. Like the end of December of 2024, like right as it was going into 25, there's this nonprofit organization called Music Cares that helps out musicians that are on, drugs, or they need help with, rent, or it's a great organization. Like what they do is just amazing. I couldn't shout them out enough. They've helped me many times throughout life, and I think they're ran by like the Grammy group, the like Recording Arts Academy, and yeah, so I'd been clean for about a year, and I started slipping up and falling off again, and I called Music Cares, and to be honest, like, I know I've been to rehab like at least 25 times, like maybe more, and I had just never truly finished it, and in the programs had never stuck for me. And so yeah, at the end of 24, I go to this place called Cirque Lodge in Provo, Utah. It's beautiful in the middle of mountains. It's like, I believe it's like the top rehab in the country or something like that, or they're definitely like top 3. Yeah, they just had like a really great program. They take you on like helicopter rides through the like mountains in Utah. They have like Indian like sweat lodge sessions. Just a lot of cool stuff, man. And it was the first time I ever like finished treatment. I've just been clean ever since, and just doing my AA thing, working my steps.
You're still doing music?
Yeah. I will always do music. I just released a new song called Drunk Dials. 24 and 25. I released 2 albums. Emo Redneck was one of them, and the other one was called Chopper and a Dream. Yeah, I'm also like a songwriter and a producer. And I spent a lot of time working like behind the scenes and just, making songs for the artists that need them, and trying to, like take an artist's vision and really bring it to where they want it to be. I don't know. The weird thing about that is, like I said, like if I aim for an artist, if they're like, write a song for Ariana Grande, I'll like hit it too far on the nose. But like every placement I've had, I feel like I'll play the stuff I wrote for like the certain artist, and they'll be like, okay, that's cool. And I'll be like, can I like show you what I've been working on for my new album, and I'll play my artist stuff, and that's like always the songs that they're like, what is going on with this? Like, you know what I mean? Can we cut this? Like, can we have this song? Mostly I just kind of just write songs that I'm like, if I wouldn't sing it, how can I expect someone else to like really feel it and want to sing it too? I feel happy and blessed, man. Like, I'm so lucky that, you know, things could have went so differently, and a lot of people don't come back from just how deep and dark it had got for me. I don't know if anyone else is going through that. Like, I know a lot of people have trouble with this, but even if it's not the God in the Bible or whatever, like, what helped me the most and connected for me is like just tuning into like whatever spirituality is for you. Like, most of the people I know that have gone clean and stayed clean and stuff, like, whether they find it through Christianity or Buddhism or, you know, just their own understanding of like, hey, I believe there's a higher power of some sort. Yeah, I've just been in touch with my spirituality, trying to like, you know, put positive stuff into the world through my music, and yeah, man, I'm just happy and blessed. And
What happened to the girlfriend?
oh man, okay, what happened with the girlfriend? So we were on and off for like about 15 years, and about a year ago, I had like finished that rehab I told you about, that Cirque Lodge place in Utah. And so I come back and I'm living in a sober living, which is like a halfway house or whatever. And I write her this long, heartfelt message, and I say, hey, I'm not expecting us to get back together today, tomorrow, next week, or even next month. All I want to know is there any place in your heart that is willing to explore us like romantically again? You know what I mean? Simple as that. Like, the way she responded, like, I know her well enough to know that like if she was really serious and like, you know, she would have said like, yes, like, I love you to death. You'll always be like the love of my life. I just think you should, you know, focus on yourself, like, get back on your feet and really like fulfill some of the goals you've been having. And like, but yes, like, I still want to pursue us romantically. And she wrote me back with this sort of like vague, like, oh, you know, I love you so much, but like, we both have so much to work on separately and blah, blah, blah. And like,
It's not you, it's me.
yeah, like, you know, and I just took it as like, okay, that's her nice way of saying like, love ya. We'll always be best friends. Like, you know what I mean? We went through like hell and high water together. But like, yeah, it's time to move on. Right. That's the message I received. And so I move on and I get a new girl, and she's like a total like, she's like every other girl I've ever dated is like a like toxic stripper, like sugar baby, like just like bad news bears, you know, covered in tattoos, like type of girl. And my new girl, she's just like all American, blonde, listens to like Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter, you know, like never really had a lot of like bad family trauma, no daddy issues or anything. Like she's like a, what's it called? A psychologist, like a therapist. And she's getting her license in California right now. But yeah, just a super normie chick. And
How do you convince your grandma to get a face tattoo? Really quick.
how do I convince my grandma to get a face tattoo? Okay.
Is this, what does it say on your face? What is this?
Misunderstood.
Misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah.
And your grandmother has?
Check your. I texted you, Matt. I sent you a picture.
Yeah. Oh my God, bro. What did you do to grandma?
Oh, dude.
Oh my God.
Okay, so like we're sitting there and I'm visiting one day. Me and my grandma have always had like a really just like funny sense of humor with each other. And she's like, well, since I'm your grandma, like, doesn't it only make sense now that like I should be the one that like goes and gets a face tattoo? And I thought she was like joking. And I'm like, actually, like, that would be really hard, Mimi, like, if you went and got that face tat, like. And she was like, you think so? Like, it wouldn't look weird? And I'm like, nah, like, as long as you didn't get, like, some gangster stuff, like, as long as you got, like, a little cutesy thing, like some flowers or a rose or something, like. And she was like, well, let's go get it. Let's go get it right now. And so, yeah, we go to a random tattoo shop, and everybody in the shop is like, oh my God, dude, like, can we, like, videotape this happening? Like, you know what I mean? And they're like, this one lady is, like, trying to talk the artist out of it. She's like, don't do this to this lady. Like, you're going to ruin her life. Like, how do we know she's of sound mind? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, trust me, my grandmother's of sound mind. Like, she's coolin'.
Hey, you guys, I appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of videos just like this. If you want to get in contact with Baby E, we're going to leave all of his links in the description box, as well as all of his social media links, Instagram, all of them. And we're also going to leave a link to his music. So you can click on those, check it out, follow him, subscribe, track him down, contact him, buy some music. Thank you very much. See ya.